Speaking of hitting the storytelling beats, we are joined this morning on Game Tactical Tuesday by my good friend Michael Heissenbuttel. He's going to be talking about do less better, the 20-hour work week. If you don't think that's an amazing hook, we're in the wrong place. That gets me excited. This is my kind of talk. I got into real estate because I do not love working hard. I like living. I like living. If you heard my story, you know I like living. That's why I'm working hard at 42, right? And I met Michael. We were both in the Young Professionals Network. And some of y'all are a little older, so you may have experienced this, but I was leading a Young Professionals Network, and Michael was also like the chapter in Knoxville at KW. Michael was leading this one, starting this one in Melbourne, and he was born after I graduated from the same town in Melbourne, Florida. I graduated from MCC, and Michael was born. That's a humbling experience. I wasn't even 40 yet, and I was like, okay, yeah, I am. I am old here, and so we had a great conversation. Uh, Joined as always by my co-host with the most, Drew Swirsky. Drew is not bewildered. He's got some folks behind him. He's got that. I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Good morning. It's nice to meet you, Michael. I'm excited to hear what you got to say, brother. Let's get it going.
Ooh,
Yeah.
so Drew comes from the KW world as well. Drew's a TL. I'm going to let you guys chat a little bit when he gets into what he's actually doing. Real quick. Energy, pour in, tap in. Who's got a win they want to share? Michael, do you have a win? And somebody else can be brave.
Oh, I made up wins. You just let me know what category.
Anything,
No, I'm
personal
my win.
professional.
My win for the day is that we're here till 9:15, and my work day ends today at 9:15. So I get to go hang out and have fun the rest of today. Not that this isn't fun too, but it's a Tuesday. I'm gonna enjoy. I'm sitting at the front of my house every single time I see a car pass. I'm like, that person's commuting to work. You're gonna see me smile a little bit because I'm having more fun than they are.
Ah, I love it. Oh, Bree's on here. The whole gang is here. I love it. Drew, do you got a win this morning? You already told me you win. You already told me you win. The kids wanting to spend time with you.
Yep.
All right. I love it. Who's got one person tap in? Tell me something good. Gratitude increases sales, y'all. If you didn't know that, if you create a practice of gratitude in your sales team, no other interventions, you will see an increase in sales of 23%. So, there's some science behind it. That's okay. Be grateful in your hearts. Sure,
I
you
It's
have
got
a
a good
I
win.
win?
guess it's prepaid money.
I was
Oh,
going to
never
say
mind.
I have a win.
Let's go.
Hey, so well, outside of working out this morning, uh, yesterday I had a closing that started at 3, and at 5:30, the buyer calls me and says the seller is refusing to sign the paperwork. And her agent and the title company were trying to get the seller to sign the paperwork. So I know it went through, but that was a very interesting call to get 2.5 hours into something that should have taken 40 minutes to sign, and try to calm the buyer down as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Never dull. Never
it's
dull.
never a dull moment.
All right.
Yeah.
Michael, well, I'm glad that all worked out. And that is what we get paid for, y'all. We are firefighters. So we get paid to put out fires. If it's not fires, you know,
We're more
we're
than firefighters. We're marriage counselors. We're psychologists. We're a lot of different hats.
get to serve deeply. So Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Sure.
Why do you only want to work 20 hours a week? What's going on in your world?
Oh, there's more fun stuff than work.
Yeah.
No, that's the simple answer. That's the 5 years in, 24-year-old grizzled old grumpy man answer.
Um,
I'm just
yeah,
doing that to myself.
let's I love that. So you're 5 years in, you started, 5 years
Like,
ago. Very,
started in
very
2020 at 19. It was either this or continue school. So this was much easier. I didn't like
sure.
school that much. No, I mean the 20-hour work week spawned from not my brain. I would love to uh, feel taller, look smarter. If I were to just tell you that I sat down one day and was like, I could do all of this in 20 hours because I'm a genius. No, I started how most people do with the hustle and the grind, the 60, 70 hour weeks. I was doing at least 4 open houses a week because I would do them double Saturday, double Sunday. And oftentimes I would take a vacant listing in my office and Monday through Friday just sit there and make that my office, and do anything I could to get in front of people. I would make phone calls all the time. Like I was just, because I was young and hungry and like sleeping on friends' couches and moving from place to place, I was like, well, it's either I make money or I don't eat. So let's just go ahead and sell some houses. And it
Mhm.
builds a bad habit. I mean, it built a good habit of lead generation. It built a bad habit of I would wake up every single day and say, okay, what can I do to advance the business today? Not what can I do to make my life better today? And so for the first few months, it serves me. And then when you're a year and a half in, and you aren't really 2 years in, and you have a habit of every single day, almost like in a panic state of being like, how do I go find business, even if you have tens of thousands of dollars in your bank account, wasn't very healthy. And the thing that fixed me was a very, very horrible car accident, which is, funny, but not. I was used to working 60 hours every week. I get in this really bad car accident. I now have 4, 5, 6 doctor's appointments every single week. I can only get out of bed for a few hours each day because I'm exhausted. My fiance, who was at the time my girlfriend, and is like all of 120 pounds, had to help me get out of bed, which was fun. And I still
Mike's
took,
deceptively tall.
yeah, yeah, I am. I'm 6'4" and 285, so I'm bigger than I look. Um, but anyways, the what happened is I still had all this business. In when I got in this accident, it was October 31st of 2022, and on November 1st, my U.S. Bank still wanted my mortgage, which was stupid. But I was like, come on, that was just an accident yesterday. I still had to log in and pay my mortgage. Um, but I couldn't afford to slow. I couldn't afford to slow down the business, but I couldn't afford my body to not slow down my time. And so it kind of forced me into looking at my life and at my business and saying, okay, if I really only have the time and energy to work 20 hours, what's all the BS I've been doing for 60? Like, what do I need to do to get paid and not do anything else that doesn't get me paid? Uh, and naturally, I adjusted quickly because that was my only option. By the time, like 5 or 6 or 7 months later, that I could really have the energy to work like a normal person again, that's when I made the conscious decision to say, okay, I've run this business for the last 6 months working 20 hours a week. Did my business slow down a little bit? Yeah. Did my life get any worse? No, not even sort of. So is it worth, like, do I want to triple my hours to increase my income by 10% again? No, I don't. And that was the decision I made. And that's when I really started to take this seriously. So I'd love to tell you that I'm smarter than everybody. I'm not. I just got in a worse car accident than most people.
hmm No, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And that's really, that happened 6 months later. The next 6 months after that, it was the most, at that point in my career, the most money I'd ever made in a 6 month span. Once I started to sit down and was like, okay, I have all this energy. Let me take this seriously. Let me make a plan. And it was about a year after my accident where I was like, okay, I need to start sharing this with other people because I would love for them to not get in a car accident, to start taking their life more seriously than their work.
Anybody else excited about that, Drew? Is that
Yeah.
Coach Drew's excited? It sounds like a system. It sounds like a model, right?
Right. Michael, what you said the car accident was in 22.
Yeah, yeah. It was Halloween of 2022.
And so after that, what was your 23 and 24 like? What were your years like business wise?
Pretty good. I mean, I that year in 22, I had closed out, excuse me, um, just under 5 million, just about. It was 4.95, and I was on a team for the first half of it. So that year, I was transitioning off of a team into being a solo agent. Did 5 million in 23. I did six and change. I think it was 6.1 or 6.2, and then last year I did 8 million. So, and this year I'll probably end up somewhere around 12. And that's part of that is just because I've gotten more higher priced things. Like if I take out my $2 million listings, $1 million+ listings, I'm really at like 9.5 for the year this year. But yeah, I mean that's the thing too, is I think a lot of people hear me or know me and they know that I don't go over the top for anything but service. Like when I'm talking to a client, you're going to get the best experience possible. You're not going to think that I'm working 20 hours a week. But when it comes to sitting down and doing business planning, I'm not going to spend 5 hours on business planning. I know roughly what I need to do. I'll figure out how many appointments I need to set. I'll go make enough phone calls to set that many appointments. Like that's the extent of business planning. Same thing with most things. I don't have super fancy Canva graphics for this is the open house I'm doing. I'll just put it on Facebook. It's not that important. That's not what's going to sell me any houses. So the only thing I really spend time on is the service end and making the clients not feel like I work 20 hours. But in terms of, yeah, I think that answers your question, hopefully.
Oh, yeah. Would you mind, and I know you got more to talk about, would you mind just going over like what a day, what the 20 hours look like, right? Is
Yeah.
it 5 one day, or is it 5 4 days a week? Is it like how do you break that down?
So it's a great question because of this, like people always ask me to send me their count, send them my calendar, which I think is like the most useless thing I can do. Because really what I think is more important is uh, I do really two, but really three things that I think matter. One is I set a very specific client expectation. Every single client knows that they're going to get a phone call from me every single Friday. And on that Friday, we're going to talk about four things. We're going to talk about what's happened in the last week, what should happen in the next week, what I'm working on, and if there's anything I need from them. Because every client knows that I'm going to call them every Friday, like how often do you guys throughout the week get a random phone call? It's from your client, and you're like, mother, this is recorded. And like they're like, oh my god, like what do they need? And then you're on a phone call that you don't know if it's going to be 5 minutes or 45 minutes, and there's that feeling in you. You're like, well, I could watch this ring, but if this is important, now I got no shot at a 5-star review and no shot at referrals for the rest of my life. I don't get those phone calls because every client knows I'm going to call them on Friday. If somebody's calling me on a Wednesday or a Thursday, 95% of the time, because I really rarely take a client that doesn't fit with my ideal client, 95% of the time, it's important because they're calling. They know I'm going to call them 2 days from now. If they had a dumb question of like, hey, could we swap photo 34 and 37? They'll wait till Friday. And so, what does my calendar look like? It's different. That's number one. Set very specific client expectations. Number two, I manage my energy. That matters to me more than managing my calendar. If I had a routine or a schedule that was every day from 9 to noon, I'm going to make this many phone calls for the 3 hours, and then maybe I'll take an afternoon off. Maybe I'll do whatever. Um, See, it's funny. Bree sent my old schedule, but I don't like it anymore. It messes with my energy. Some days I wake up, I'm high energy. I'll sit and make phone calls for 6 hours, happy as can be. Like I'll just call everybody in that one day. Some days I will. Some days I'm like, nah. Today I woke up, didn't feel like working. I was like, I'll hang out with Justin for a little bit. Then I'm gonna go play golf. That's because then I felt like it, and so I booked a tea time right before this, and that's my day.
Can we go back? And I love where we are, and I have some questions. Let's start when you started, because
Yeah.
it's not like I didn't work 20 hours. It takes more than 20 hours to master lead gen.
Oh yeah.
There's just time on task over time. So when we started, if you don't know Michael's story, connect with him. It's an amazing story. Hey, sleeping on couches, basically emancipated himself, as a teenager, like just totally on his own, supporting himself. I'm gonna go right into real estate, you know, but I've got to make this happen. And so, how many hours were you working? How long did it take you to like start seeing success in real estate? Because I think getting started is so hard, like breaking through. And then what did that look like? Like,
Yeah, it's funny. I'll give a slightly longer answer because I think it adds context. I started my first business on accident when I was 14 because my neighbor knocked on my door looking for my older brother because he was going out of town and his dog sitter canceled last minute. And I was like, oh, I'll come let out Paris because I knew his dog. And he left $100 on the counter for the like 2 days that I was there. And when he gets back, I'm like, Dr. Zavalos, tell everybody I just started a dog sitting business. that story does a couple things. One, find when an opportunity knocks on the door, take it. Like, figure out what that looks like. Don't I think so many realtors get so distracted on like, yeah, I don't have any leads. Like, who's going to bring me the leads? And then somebody's like, hey, like, what is going on in the market? And you're like, I don't know, but do you have any leads? Hello, right? Like, that's part of it. Two is do the service ask for the business. So, like, going back to your question, what did it look like getting started? I was doing engineering school. I wanted to drop out because, excuse me, because I was 19 with a big ego. I didn't want anybody to be like, oh, that kid with the good GPA in high school is now a failure. I was like, well, let's just be successful early so that people don't judge me. So I was doing open houses all the time, everything. I got licensed in June. I was tutoring at the time too, because I was just a serial person that liked to start businesses. And in November, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to break this cycle unless I start making real money. The $2,000 a month I'm making in tutoring is not real. So I just stopped doing it. Like, just hard stop was like, I'm not no longer tutoring. I'm only going to do real estate. That week I had my first buyer. It was literally just a decision. And then that buyer closed in January of 21. And I think in 2021, I went 2 months without a closing. I had 18 closings that year. So I was just like, all right, let's just go. And it's like people always harp on the how. They're like, okay, like, how'd you do that? Like, well, does it matter? Because when the why matters enough, the who, the what, and the how all figure themselves out. For me, open houses every single weekend, 4 of them, oftentimes doing vacant houses during the week. I would take any rental lead that my office had, because here in everywhere is different, negotiable commissions, whatever. But here in Florida, we would make 25% of 1 month's rent for a renter. So most seasoned agents didn't want to do it. I'd make 500, $600 doing a rental. I would take every single dollar of that and put it into a Facebook ad, and then I would sit there calling the people that clicked on Facebook ads all day. That's how, but that doesn't matter, because if you're not going to do it, go do something else. But just figure out the why of what you're going to do, and you'll get the. But just make the decision to be successful. I think so many people like to sit around and think about what to do. If you decide that you need to do something, just you'll figure it out. You'll just pick up the phone and start calling somebody on accident.
I so I don't know if we painted this picture. So Mitt and Michael's always been this way, very simple, keeping it right. You were on a team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was on the team for the first year and a half, which was tremendously helpful for confidence, because the confident person who's in front of you is a 5 years in. I've done this enough times, and I don't care what you say about me. The 19-year-old needed somebody to be like, Dad, can you help? Like, I got a live one. This person says they want to sell. Now what do I do? And it was really helpful to have somebody where I could, like, I'd say dad. It wasn't my actual dad, but I'm just like, please come help me, because I felt like a little child. And that's just how it was. I'm very glad that I had the team that I had.
So who's got questions? Because I think we've laid out, and as Drew is nodding, because you got to go back and listen to Drew's episode if you haven't heard this. We talk about when the why is big enough. Drew, tell him how many units you did in that year, Drew, because it's a pretty crazy story.
106.
Big had
I love that, Michael. I love that, and I kind of want to ask a question, and I'm a little nervous to ask it. I want to know how the accident prompted this. I like how, like, was it you wanted to live more life and do more things after the accident? What prompted you to say, you know what, I was just in a terrible accident. I'm still going to crush it, but I'm just going to crush it on my own terms.
Yeah, I think there it's not it's not a fun life-changing story, which I think is important too. It's like, I already didn't like working all that much. Like, I was doing it because it was a habit. It's not like I was in this accident and then, like, I saw the light and was like, I have to live while I'm alive. I already didn't like working. I realized I could do it in 20 hours. Once I felt better, I was like, man, I can fill that 40 hours that I now not at doctor's appointments with work, or I can go do fun stuff. That's pretty much the extent. That's why I'm so passionate about this, and why anytime somebody asks me to come talk about it, I say yes very quickly, is because I don't want somebody to have to be in an accident to get there. You don't need to see a light to turn off your notifications after 5 o'clock. You can just decide to do it. Like, that's the big thing, is like, for me, if you set the right client expectations and during the day you're giving enough service, you don't feel guilty when you watch your phone ring at 8 o'clock. Because I'm just like, if it mattered to them, they would have called me earlier. And if it really matters to them now, they'll leave me a voicemail. With the exception of if an offer is in or an offer is out, I do not answer my phone after 5:30. Hard stop. Like I just because nothing is that important at 7 o'clock at night. Just because it's on my client's mind, it doesn't mean it has to be on mine. Like I'm eating dinner. I'll talk to you tomorrow when I'm working.
Bars, Drew. Just because
Yeah,
it's on my client's mind doesn't mean it has to be on mine.
I love that.
Who feels convicted right now?
This, I'm really inspired by Michael's story. Somebody that has faced physical challenges and trying to get in the right mindset when you don't feel it. So, what do you do, Michael, on a daily that gets that motivation and drive if you're hurting?
That's a great question. I don't. I think that's the hustle culture problem is you don't win life on a day-to-day basis. Like I think that you can build the proper habits to what you do every day can affect your life. Absolutely. Like if you keep on pushing back, oh, I'll start working out tomorrow, you're never going to. If you start saying I'm going to lead generate tomorrow, you're never going to. I think what matters the most is if you build the foundational habits, you're going to have enough results in surplus that on a day that you're hurting or you just don't feel like it, you've earned the right to stop it. Now, I earned the right is the three important words in that sentence because if you lead gen consistently, you're getting referrals consistently. Almost every weekend, you're doing the open houses or whatever you do, whether it's call expired, whatever. If on a Wednesday that you're in pain, you don't let yourself just stop, that next Thursday and Friday are shot too.
Exactly.
But
Very
if
much
you
so.
if on a Wednesday you're like, okay, like for me it's my lower back, L4, L5, and L5S1. I have two herniated discs. If I wake up and my lower back is in pain, I will respond to client requests throughout the day. I'm not doing any lead generation that day. I'm in too much pain. If
Right.
I let myself relax and rest, the next day I wake up completely fine. If I work through the pain, the next day the pain is worse, and then the day after that the pain's worse, and I'm in a bad mood. So
Yeah.
the answer to how do I motivate myself on a daily basis, I don't let the back pain control my life. If I ever catch myself going more than 2 days straight, it's probably not really hurting. I probably just don't feel like working, and then there's something else going on. And for
Hmm.
me, like I think time management is a somewhat silly thing. If I wanted to be managed all day, I go get a job. It's a big thing about energy management. Like if I have 3 days in a week that my back is hurting, I'm like something's weird because my back doesn't really hurt. My body's just telling my like I'm using that as a crutch at that point because I just know myself. It's probably a phone call that I'm avoiding. It's probably a client that I don't like that I know I need to fire. Like there's probably something else deeper going on. But on a day-to-day basis, some days I wake up in pain and I don't work. That's fine. As long as I have the results to give myself that permission. If you have no closings and then you don't feel like working, okay, well then there's an issue.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing that. That
Yeah.
that matters.
Latrice, thank you, Adrian. Latrice asked a good question. And then I want to get into some nuts and bolts here because I think there's two things that Michael did. Like he did the work on the front end before he cut back to 20 and to get into that. But Latrice asks, can you review the four things that you're covering on your client calls?
Yeah, I'm typing it out so that she can have it too.
Awesome. You can type in the chat.
Yeah, but it's or somebody else can type it because I'll be talking. Every week is the same four things. It's here's what's happened in the last week, here's what should happen in the next week, here's what I'm working on, and here's what I need from you, if anything. And it's very simple. The reason I like it is it also sets up future hard conversations. Because if you're calling somebody every single Friday and you're saying, "Hey, in the last week we had two showings. Next week we don't have any showings scheduled yet. As soon as one comes up, I'll let you know." What I'm working on is I just put out all the marketing, doing the open house this Saturday, and right now I don't really need anything from you. Just make sure the house looks good for tomorrow's open house. That's a normal call. People get used to that rhythm. What that sets up is on the next Friday call, hey, in the last week there haven't been any showings, and next week there's no scheduled showings yet. So what we need to talk about is it's time to reduce the price of the house. Let's talk about to what extent we need to do it, where we need to reposition ourselves to sell. The reason I am so consistent with it, especially in this market, which I don't know what your guys' market looks like, but our average days on market is officially at 91 days, so over 3 months at this point. Our sale to list ratio is 97.2%, and our sale to original list ratio is 93.6%. So we're in a market now where people are coming down. When I didn't have a scheduled phone call, I would only call at high points and low points. And people got used to me making a phone call meant something was changing. And if they were avoidant of the change, they started avoiding me. If they knew that I was calling them every Friday, whether it was good, bad, or neutral, it meant that on the times that there was going to be a price change or a difficult conversation, it was no longer this crux of, oh my God, I'm going to build up this phone call in my head and all. No, it's Friday. I have 8 listings right now. I know which 2 listings need to reduce the price this week. I'm not thinking about it on Tuesday. And now I'd love to be wrong and get an offer on one of those 2 listings this week. I won't though. I'll call them on Friday. Hey, here's what's happened last week. We haven't had any showings. Next week we don't have anything yet. Here's what's going on in your neighborhood. This one just reduced. This one just reduced. It's time that we reduce too. Do we want to be at 390 or 375 and get it sold? Like, it's just so much easier. And so that, but those are the things. So those 4 things on every phone call. I also do price reductions on that same call.
I'm hearing two skills, Drew, that I think Michael mastered. One was like maybe three, the habit of hard work, right? So then got really good at my skills. Like you already know your listing presentation, objection handling, conversion, right? Lead generation. But then I'm hearing like executive function. So I struggle with executive function. Executive function is the ability to put my focus on what I want when I want, right? And I hear what Michael's saying as you kind of worked with yourself. So it's not like, hey, I push through and at 9 a.m., no matter how I feel, I'm making a phone call. But it sounds like you, by going with, hey, I'm watching how I feel, energy management, great. When I do need to do these things, I can flip a switch. If I feel good, I flip the switch and when I am lead generating, I am lead generating. I am not lead generating and checking my email and like browsing Instagram, right?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's funny. I've done this some version of this conversation like 10 times, and you holding up your phone just prompted something in me that I haven't ever shared. Lead genning is so much easier when the alternative is less fun. Like, I drive all the time. I don't like sitting in my car in silence, and like I care for music to some extent. I do a lot of my lead gen when I'm just driving from one place to another. Because if I have the choice, like today I'm staying at home, I'm not going to the office. I go to the office most days because if I'm at home, the choice between playing a video game or playing with my dog or hanging out with my fiance or lead genning, I'm never going to make the choice to lead gen. When I'm driving, okay, I can listen to a song that I've listened to 100 times, or I can make a phone call that could potentially make me $10,000. I'll make that phone call, right? So, um, I think that's part of it too. Like when you talk about executive function, it's like, okay, what environment am I putting myself in that prompts me to work instead of me needing to make the decision to work? What what does it like it? And it's just becomes habitual. Like I get into a car and my first thought is, all right, who should I call today? And really it's not even much of a thought. I'm just like, okay, dial. So,
And so Drew, the question I have is if I'm listening to this and I don't want to go, you know, I'm not 19. I'm not going to go. I don't want to go do 4 open houses. Like I'm not inspired. I'm not going to go work 70 hours. I can work 20. What's my takeaway? What do you think? Like most people need to hear on here. Who's working more than 40 hours right now? Travis is raising his hand. Jamie's raising her hand. Scott's not working more than 40. Weber's not working more than 40. Okay, Aaron, there we go. All right, great. So yeah, what's our takeaway then? You think?
First off, I wanted to say Michael does an amazing job of setting expectations with his
Mm,
clients, right? That was a skill you left off there. He sets the expectation ahead
yes.
of time. Also, he's doing an amazing job of asking for business, which a lot of us aren't, right? It sounds like that probably, if I had to guess, probably 90% of your business is referral at this point.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm very listing heavy, so it's a little closer to like 80 to 85% just because I get a lot of leads from the listings that I have. But yeah, most of my listings are referral based, and then I'll get most of my buyers come from the listings I already have.
That's what I figured. And setting the expectation with your clients, not only on a Friday, but period, right? Like, hey, after 5:30, if it's not an emergency, I'm not answering. That also you're setting an expectation to refer you, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Drew. I don't tell people that I don't pick up the phone after 5:30.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, I show them. I think that people are in this, especially, I mean, I'm 5 years in, so I understand that I'm 24, and so people are older and you're going to be like, oh yeah, whatever. Like the world has changed a lot in the 5 years that I've been selling real estate because I started just after COVID, and I think that client expectations are now more demanding than they used to be. If I sit on a listing appointment and tell people, hey, here's everything I'm going to do for you, and I'm not going to pick up the phone after 5:30, they hear that as a bit of scarcity. They say, well,
Yeah.
if I need something after 5:30, he's not going to pick up. But instead, what I do is I use my version of the promise script. I'm not doing Tony Baroni justice. But like on the second page of my listing presentation is 5 stars in the word promise, and I say, hey, I want to talk about this real quick. There's 6,000 agents in this county, and I appreciate that I'm here today. You could have had any of the other 5,999. For me, the real estate process when you're selling your house and moving is going to be stressful. If I sat here and told you that it wasn't, I'd be lying. Here's what I'm going to make sure it is: it's not going to be confusing. You're going to be spending a lot of time, a lot of stress, and a lot of money to make this move. I think that from your realtor, you deserve a 5 star service. Here's what a 5 star service looks like to me: you're always going to know what's going to happen next, what's happened recently, what I'm working on, and if there's anything I need from you. I'm going to call you every single Friday without fail. If I miss a call, just assume that I'm dead. Call the cops. Is there anything else from a previous move that you would tell me is a 5 star service from a realtor? Like, is there a time that you've moved that you had a 5 star service, and how can I emulate that? And then I'll sit there and listen. Okay, have you ever had less than a 5 star service from a realtor? Can you tell me about that experience? And I'll sit there and I'll take notes. Now, what did I do there? I told them what a 5 star service looks like to me. As long as they're not confused, I've delivered on my promise. I've also told them that I'm going to call them every single Friday with an update. I did not tell them, don't call me after 5:30. Most people aren't going to. Because the reason that they're calling is because I haven't done like if somebody's calling you at 7 o'clock, it's because you haven't done a good enough job educating them on what's next. They're now needing to call you to ask.
So two things. One, here's what happens next is probably the most powerful thing you can say to your client, right? Here's what happens next. And second, what made you choose Friday?
What made me choose Friday? I don't know. I felt like it. Like, I mean,
When I
honestly,
asked him 2 years ago, he said he's tired of taking calls on the weekend, and so he's
that's
heading them
part
off
of it.
pass.
Like a lot of people in my office will do their calls on Monday or Tuesday because they, for whatever reason, they think that Fridays they're busier. They're not. Um, if I talk to you on a Monday and most real estate happens all over the weekend because that's when people can do showings, it's going to feel longer. I don't know. Fridays just has always worked for me. And when I've talked to people in my office and had the same conversation and they've done other days of the week, they've come back to me and they're like, my people are still calling me randomly. I'm like, well, then do it on Friday. I don't get random phone calls. Like I am fairly confident right now. I have 16 people on my Friday list. Like, and that doesn't include agents because I update referral agents on those days too. But I have 16 active clients between listings or listings coming up or buyer agreement signed. Those people are all getting a call on this Friday. I would be shocked if between now and Friday morning, more than 2 of them called me. And I don't even think it would be 2. They know I'm going to call on Friday. They're going to leave me alone until then.
Who's got questions? You're reminding me, Michael, about how simple it is because so much of us like I'm thinking about the extraneous business that I have and how simple this would be to do. Anybody else been doing this a while? Like longer than 5 years, longer than 10 years, and just being like, oh yeah, I could just, I'm getting a text message right now about a survey, which is fine. Nice people. I love talking to them, but I have not been following my update schedule with them, Michael.
Yeah.
And this is we're about to close this week. It'd be fine, but like we have some random conversations. They reached out to me like from Disney World, so I'm seeing that the buyers are driving. Magel's gonna. What I'm seeing right now, and when I'm seeing this, it's like buyers are unreasonably and sellers are kind of unreasonably responsive and reactive now, and it's changed over the years. Yeah, and so like, yeah, I think we've got to hold their hand, right, or else they're just question. I need an answer immediately. Yeah, Magel, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Michael, as a father of three, I really like, and it sounds like, do you have any little ones? I know you're engaged, but
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm an uncle of four, so and my sister was a single mom for a while, so I
yeah,
take care of them a lot, but it's just me, my fiance, and my dog.
but I just like the expectation or the rhythm that you're able to set whereby it will not leave children, should you choose to have them, confused about what's the priority.
Yeah.
And I think that that's such a big trap that well-meaning parents that want to do a good job and want to be present for their kids just get sucked into messing up that priority because they haven't sat down with themselves and said, how am I going to handle dinner time? How am I going to handle soccer practice? How am I going to handle all of these things? But by having a framework that you've already built, and that I can see even heads nodding in the audience is what I'm saying is like we've all kind of messed that up and had, I mean, I've had, this is not going to sound great. And I think my kids kind of heard the story before they even did it to me. It wasn't like they came up with it, but like, Papa, how much money do you make an hour? I'm like, dude, get away from me with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to be like, what if I were to buy an hour of your time? Now, granted, I think my kids are smart enough to have heard that anecdote and be like, oh, I'm going to use this against my dad as some sort of emotional blackmail. But still, they're only doing it because I've proven at times to not be living my priorities. So I love this framework. And the only other thing that I was going to ask. So one, I just wanted to commend you for that, and I think it'll serve you really,
thank
really
you.
well over time. But the question I wanted to ask was like, how much do you feel like the expectations that you want for your life need to line up with how much of a client base you're going to maintain at any given time? Because like, I think some people, myself included, may say, dude, I'm freaking make $1 million this year, but not want to work the client base required to kind of do that and being like, hey, it's okay to maybe make my expectations. I'm going to make 150 or 275 or whatever it might be.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. This year, I went into the year knowing that I was going to make the same amount of profit, the same amount of money I did last year. And for a lot of people, that sounds like regression. I took all of May off. I did a 26-day trip to Spain and Portugal. We did a cruise over there, hung out there, flew back. And I had a woman cover for me that whole time. And she was incredible. All my clients met her. She came on every listing appointment and buyer appointment with me for the 4 months before I left. She handled every single thing. I responded to one email for 26 days. And it was because an offer came in. And then I responded to it with the woman who was covering for me. And I was like, here's how I'd handle it. And she sent me the copy of the email that she had already sent that was exactly like it. I make my goals in according to my life and not the other way around. Because I think where it gets lost, and we're all with different brokerages. Brokerages make money on a split. They need you to make more money so that they can make more money. So most of the education is focused on more, go do more, go do more. And I think we're seeing a shift now to go have a better life as long as you're making enough and determine what enough is for you. So for me, like this year, I'll profit about 160,000. Now, granted, I have 2 listings that are my highest price listings. I'll make a little bit more money than that. But my plan and all the work that I was doing as if I was going to make 160,000, I'll make closer to 180. But I could have gone into this year. Like I have all of the, this isn't meant to sound egotistical. I'm just trying to answer your question. I have all of the skills and talent and connections to make 300,000. It was not worth the lifestyle that I would have needed to live to get there. I'm cool with making what I'm making. It was a conscious decision. I think where people get lost is they say, how much money could I possibly make? What would I need to go to do that? And like, oh, the family, like they'll be so happy I made the money, not the other way around.
I think I realized why we connected so much when we first met, Michael, is I had the same philosophy. I was just willing to be broke.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
No,
I
no,
tell
that's and
other
that's the
people,
thing is
I've
like,
been so present. I worked at Reebok. Like I worked 30 hours a week, but I spent so much time with my daughter.
yeah.
So much. I was there for all of these
Well, what's
moments.
fun about Hayden is when you ask Hayden as a 40-year-old, like, tell me about your dad. She's gonna say he was present, he was caring, he was there. I
Yep.
never had to wonder if he cared about me. And if
But
you ask most people about their dad, it's like, well, he worked a lot, or like, oh, like he got us a nice house. And I hope that if I have a daughter, her answer is something like Hayden's, because I would much rather be, I don't want to be broke. I'm kind of bougie, but like I would much rather be content and happy than be rich and miserable or subservient to a business. Like it's no fun for me.
I wouldn't recommend being broke. I've been
Yeah,
both. I like, there's a guy locally, he's a developer, and he's like, money can't buy happiness, but broke can't buy, you
yeah,
know? And and there are things that did not set myself up for success. I look at that, but I like I did not. I came in at 23, and I went to one of those meetings. It was called by referral only, and I saw 50-year-old people crying in the conference because they were afraid to take a Sunday off. And I just remember being like, these people are insane. These people are insane. Like these are grown adults with no life, right? And it's the median income for agents that are been in the industry 15 years is like 85,000.
yeah.
And was that true? We saw this 85% of agents retire only with the equity in their home. And the thing I want to share, this might wrap it all up here. I had a conversation with one of the top coaches in the country about the investing in the wealth building side. Coaches tons of teams. And he said he does not think that is of interest to most teams because they have models that are based off production, right? We want producing agents. If I got an agent, and sometimes we know this, we can get lost in the sauce. We coach on this. Don't just go flip a house, you go control some listings, like get your agent business going. But I think that is interesting, right? Matt, it's the incentives line up to keep people on the transactional treadmill. It's not necessarily that it's just that's what the system is. Go sell more chicken sandwiches, right? We know how to sell chicken sandwiches. Go sell more chicken sandwiches, not maybe invest in wealth or diversify or invest in your well-being.
Hey, Michael, quick question, and I know we got to go. So, since when you're not working, what are some of the things you like to do? I heard golf, I heard
Yeah, I
video
like
games.
golfing. I live right by the river. I live right by the beach too. I'm not a beach person. I don't like the sand, so I like to go kayaking. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm recently getting into pickup soccer. I play like pickleball and stuff. I like being outdoors. I don't like being inside.
Nice.
He's also what's a male ballerina, Michael?
I always make a joke. I'm a ballerino. Now my fiance did ballet all growing up. She went professional and then broke her ankle twice, so now she's no longer doing it. But the school that she grew up going to, I volunteer with. So this will be my ninth year in the Nutcracker. Yeah, it's so not. It's because I love my fiance. It's pretty fun, but it's not. I would not do it if I was not with her.
Uh,
This was huge for me. I took a lot of notes. I couldn't talk as much because I wanted to write some of the stuff down. The one thing that's going to stick with me, man, and I'm going to make sure that I focus on this every morning is energy management.
Yeah.
Energy management is huge. You can't lead gen and make other people want to be around you if you don't want to be around yourself.
Yeah, it's fun. I know we're a little over. I'm gonna tell a little story anyways. One of the things that my coach had me do, because I hired a coach in April of last year, and that helped making this more purposeful, is on the days where I didn't feel like lead genning, it's super easy to not lead gen when you have an open calendar. And so what he would do is he'd have me book a tea time. Because if I'm like, all right, I'm gonna lead gen today, and I get to the office at 9, and then it's 3 o'clock, I looked up, I never did it. That would happen every so often. But if I say, well, I've got a tea time at 1 and I know I need to lead gen before then, it's 9 o'clock, let's start going. And so doing things like arbitrary deadlines are fun. And I'm like, well, I'm paying for the tea time either way, so now I'm going to go. And that would help my energy, because there's days where you're high energy and not focused. You gotta marry the two. You gotta bring the day where you have energy and bring the focus to what needs to get done.
I love this one. Michael's socials are in the chat. He also mentioned this promise script from Tony Baroni. If you're not familiar with it, it is a script that you introduce in your listing presentation or your buyer consultation, right? To introduce the idea of, hey, here's an expectation. I promise I'm going to deliver 5-star service, and right in exchange, you're going to give me a 5-star review. And so it's a way that which sets up his client expectations. So he dropped there's a YouTube link in there to, if you want to go grab it. You can also just Google Tony Baroni Promise if you want to get a version of it. I like your version, Michael. I thought it kind of brilliantly sets up. You
Yeah,
keep
I think that his version is a lot more. I'm going to deliver a 5-star service. I'm going to be spending time on you. Because of that, I expect a 5-star review and referrals towards the end. That's fine. I'd rather set up the experience and ask for the referrals later than set up the referrals on the first day. Like I'm not going to forget to ask later.
Yeah, and I like that you use that to set up. You're not going to be confused, which is not the same as we're going to sell for the top dollar. It's not the same that we're not going to hit turbulence.
Yeah, I don't want to set unrealistic expectations. Like I have very few people selling for top dollar these days, and it's not because I'm a bad listing agent. It's because the market here is not that fun. So let's just, hey, this process is going to be stressful. It's going to be expensive. I'm going to make sure you're not confused. Those things are all true. As long as I deliver on that, that's 5 stars.
I love it. I'm inspired. Thank you so much for jumping in here.
Yeah, and connect with me on socials because she shared that. If you ever need something from me faster, use my phone number. I have notifications off for all social media, so I'll only respond when I check it. If there's something that's on your mind that you're not going to sleep because of, just text me. I'll respond. I don't respond to clients after 5, but if you've got something that's on your mind at 8 o'clock, just text me. If I feel like responding, I will.
Michael will show up. Also, if you want to, Michael used to teach golden letters. That was a very effective strategy. If you want to hit him up, like he built some business off of that very effectively. Great branding, branded himself as your grandma's favorite realtor. Like,
I think I have a shirt on right now.
yep, your grandma's realtor. Like, we can go deep on this. Like, success leaves clues. There's a reason why he's only working 20 hours a week now. Yeah, definitely tap in with him.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks all for coming. This is fun. I'm gonna go golf.
Later, bro.